All right, so it is time to make this little guy. I messed up. I ended up doing a tutorial for Ghost with a Top Hat and Amigurumi Ghost for Halloween. And then it was brought to my attention that rows 4, 5, and 6 were missing in the tutorial. I have no idea what happened. It must have happened in the editing. And I can't believe I didn't even catch it when I was watching the video before I posted it. It doesn't make sense to me. It's just the way the day went yesterday, I swear. I'm going to use the same video that I had posted yesterday. And I'm just going to redo the tutorial. I'm going to film rows 4, 5, and 6. So you're going to notice that I have polished nails in most of the video, but for those rows, you get these. I apologize. I don't know what happened. I'm going to go ahead and put the messed up video in private, so you're no longer going to be able to click on that one. But hopefully this one is all set. There is going to be the tutorial for the ghost, then the tutorial for the top hat. So with all of that being said, let's go ahead and crochet him together. Hi, I am Darlene, and this is Heartfelt Crochets. And on this channel is where I research, I study, I share, and I teach all things crochet. So if at the end of this video you have liked it, please subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. All right, so what we're going to need today to make this ghost with a top hat is 3 different colors of yarn, and I am using Premier yarns, Parfait Chunky Chenille, and in the colors black, mango, and white. We are using a 4.5 millimeter hook, 10 millimeter safety eyes. These are the clear eyes, and let me zoom in and show you. These are the clear eyes that have the little sparkly blue, sparkly blue background, if you can see. So that when you end up putting it on the back of the eye, it ends up giving you this really pretty blue effect. I don't know if you can actually see that, but like on this ghost, he has pretty blue eyes. Okay, so that's what we're going to be using for safety eyes today. And of course we have the backings, and then you're going to need a yarn needle and a stitch marker and then a pair of scissors. And then you're also going to need some Poly-fil stuffing. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with that. I'm going to put these aside. Okay, and we are going to start with the white yarn. So we're going to put the black and the mango aside for now. And I got a little bit of a mess going on here because I was using it. Okay. There we go. I got 2 strands coming out the middle, and it's kind of confusing. I don't know why that is, but so we're gonna start with the magic ring. So wrap it around your 2 fingers and cross it over. Put your hook underneath the first strand of yarn, grab a hold of the strand in the back, pull it through and twist your hook, then grab the yarn and pull it through that loop. And then we're going to pull this tail out and we're going to pull it closed ahead of time so that we don't have to deal with that later and having it not wanting to close on us, because chenille yarn is very temperamental. So inside this magic ring, we are going to single crochet 12. So 1, 2, and I'm holding this tail around this ring as I go. So I'm just crocheting right over the tail, so it's kind of weaving it in for me so I don't have to do it later. So it's 3 and 4. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 2 more, 11 and 12. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull that closed, and then where we just crocheted around that, it's all woven in already, so I'm just going to go ahead and give that a snip and get it out of the way right off the bat. All right, so for round 2 we are going to single crochet in this first stitch, and we're going to place our stitch marker. So we don't lose our place of where we started. Working in the rounds, it's really easy to misplace where you've ended and where you've begun. So then in the next stitch, we are going to increase. So that is 2 single crochets in the same stitch. And then 1 single crochet in the next stitch and a 2 single crochet increase in the next, and you're going to repeat that sequence around until you get to your stitch marker. So increase. Uh-oh, got a little bit of something happening here because of that other strand of yarn. Now you do have to be careful with white yarn because it would be really easy to miss a stitch. White and black yarn and like dark brown, really dark deep colors are hard to see the stitches unless you are an experienced crocheter. And then even then it's like, oh crap, I missed a stitch, and you have to frog it and start over again. So we should have 18 stitches, and we should be ending with an increase of 2 single crochets in the last stitch. So for round 3, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to zoom back out where I didn't do that before. Okay. I'm going to remove our stitch marker, and we are going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So there's 1. Let's replace our stitch marker. And 1 in the next one. And then we are going to increase in the next stitch. Make sure I didn't miss a stitch. So we're going to increase. And then 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches. Excuse me. And then an increase of 2 single crochets in the next stitch. And you're going to repeat that sequence around until you reach your stitch marker. All right, so for round 4, did you hear that squeak in my voice? Okay, so we are going to single crochet in the first stitch. We place our stitch marker. And single crochet in the next 2 stitches. And then increase. So 2 single crochets in the next stitch. And then 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches. And 2 single crochets in the next stitch. And then single crochet in the next 3 stitches. And then 2 single crochet in the next stitch. And you're just going to repeat that until you reach your stitch marker. And then an increase in the last stitch. Now for rounds 5 and 6, it's just single crochet in each stitch around, and you should have 30 single crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just continue round 5 and 6, and then I'll meet you back here. So I am at the last 3 stitches, and you want to make sure that your count still remains at 30 stitches, because if not, the next rows aren't going to come up right. All right, so for round 7, we are going to single crochet in the next 3 stitches. That's 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to decrease. We're going to do an invisible decrease. So we are going to grab the front loop of the next stitch and then kind of twist your hook and grab the front loop of the next stitch. Then you're going to yarn over and pull through those 2 front loops, and then yarn over and pull through the 2 loops on the hook, and that's an invisible decrease. Now we are going to do that 5 more times. Okay, so single crochet in the next 3 stitches, and then invisible decrease, and then single crochet in the next 3, decrease, and continue that around till you get to the stitch marker. One, 2, 3, and decrease. So that's 1, 2, 3, and the last decrease. Okay. And then round 8, we are going to single crochet 24 around. So this is our first one. And it's 2, 3, 4, 11, 12, so that's halfway, so 12 more. Six more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Got a little bit of a raspy voice this morning. Okay, so now we are going to insert the safety eyes between rows 5 and 6. Okay, so this is the back. I want to make sure that we're putting the eyes in the front. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 between rows 5 and 6. And want to make sure that we have 3 stitches visible in between the eyes. All right, so let's make sure. Let's go here. Is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Yep. And then 1, 2, 3 right here. And let's take a look. Oh, I didn't put the blue on the back of this one. Oh, come in. Okay, and then we're going to put the backings on. And you're just going to push till you hear a good snap. There we go. All right, now let's continue crocheting. We are on row 9. Remove your stitch marker and single crochet in that first stitch of this round and place your stitch marker, and then single crochet in the next stitch, and then we're doing that invisible decrease again. You can do a regular decrease of, single crocheting 2 together, but then you're going to end up having bigger visible holes and you're going to be able to see your stuffing and stuff unless you're a really tight crocheter. So then single crochet in the next 2 stitches and decrease. And you're going to repeat that around until you have reached your stitch marker. So go ahead and do that and I will meet you back here. Okay, and I'm finishing my last decrease in the last 2 stitches. Now for round 10, we are going to single crochet 18 around and single crochet in each stitch. Now for round 11, we are going to single crochet in the next 4 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we're going to do an invisible decrease. And then single crochet in the next 4 stitches. And invisible decrease. And then one more time. Single crochet in the next 4. And invisible decrease. Okay, so then we're going to go ahead and we're going to stuff this a little bit before we continue. I like breaking it up a little bit so it's not quite so lumpy. Oh, come on. You want it to be fairly firm. Okay. I mean, if you want it really soft and gushy, you don't have to stuff it as much, but in my pattern and for the little ghost with the top hat that you're seeing that I'm doing a tutorial on, I have it stuffed pretty good. And just keep stuffing it and making sure that it's even around. So I just keep turning and pushing it in the sides so that the head's nice and round. Okay. And this last little bit right here. Okay. Now we're going to continue crocheting. Remove the stitch marker and we're on round 12. We are going to single crochet 4. A single crochet in the next 4 stitches. So it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to decrease. And then single crochet in the next 4. And decrease. And then single crochet in the last 3 stitches. Okay. Now for row 13, we are going to increase in this first stitch. So 2 single crochets in the same stitch and place your stitch marker in the first stitch that you made of that increase. And then we're going to single crochet in the next 11. So I always kind of lose that very first one. I make sure it's so tough to see with the white yarn sometimes. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's 5, that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then we are going to single crochet 2 in this next, in this last stitch. That's an increase in the last stitch. Okay. Okay, so round 14, single crochet in the first stitch of that round. Now this is where it can get really tricky, so don't miss a stitch. So we are going to, okay, so a little bit of a tip. Like this next stitch is going to be an increase. So 2 single crochets in this next stitch, and then it's going to be really hard to not miss this next one. So what I do is I hold this next stitch while I'm placing the 2 single crochets in this stitch so that I don't end up skipping this. Okay, so that's what I do. So that's 1 and then 2 in the same stitch. Okay, and then we are going to single crochet 4. So that is 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and then we are going to decrease twice, and we're going to do the same thing. We are going to hold this stitch here so that we don't end up skipping over it, because it's going to kind of feel like it's blending in with these. So we're going to do our decrease. Okay, and then do another decrease, holding this stitch here. And then we're going to single crochet in the next 4 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to increase 2 single crochets in this last stitch. Okay, so that completed round 14. Now for round 15, we're going to increase twice, so 2 single crochets in this first stitch, holding that next stitch back here again, and replacing my stitch marker in this first stitch. So then 2 single crochets in this next stitch. So I'm going to hold this one. 1 and 2. And then we're going to single crochet in the next 4 stitches. So that's 1 and 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to decrease twice. So decreasing in these 2 stitches, so I'm going to hold this third one. And then we're going to decrease in these 2, so I'm going to hold this one. And then we're going to single crochet in the next 4 stitches. 1 and 2, 3, oh no, I'm sorry, not in the next 4, in the next 3. So it was those 2 decreases, and then it was single crochet in the next 3, and then in these last 2 stitches we are going to increase. So 2 single crochets in this stitch. Oh, come on. And then 2 single crochets. What is wrong with my voice? In this last stitch. I hope I'm not coming down with a cold. It is starting to get cold real fast here in Maine right now. It kind of fluctuates. Really nice hot day in the 70s, and then the next day it's in the low 60s. At night it's dropping to the 40s. So we're right at that cold weather change and cold season, flu season. Okay, so for round 16 we are going to single crochet in the next 7 stitches. So this is 1, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now we are going to decrease twice. That's once. Come on. And that's twice. And then we are going to single crochet in the last 6 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so now for round 17. Well, before we start round 17, let's go ahead and just add a little bit more stuffing in this little tube that we're creating. There we go. And then now we're going to end up starting to shape it as we stuff it. Okay, he's starting to go a little sideways. Okay, so round 17 we're going to single crochet in the next 7 stitches. So this is the first one. Stitch marker. And 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then decrease twice. It's 1. And that's 2. And then we're going to single crochet in the last 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Got to pull out some more yarn. Oh, it's getting a little tangled. Okay, now for round 18, single crochet in the first 2 stitches. That's 1, and 2, and then decrease. And we're going to do that twice more. So single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and decrease, 1 and 2, and decrease, and then a single crochet in this last stitch. Okay. Now for the last round 19 of this ghost, we are going to single crochet in this first stitch, and then decrease, and then single crochet in this next stitch and decrease, single crochet in the next stitch, decrease, and single crochet in this last stitch. Okay, so we're going to cut the yarn. We're going to leave a little bit of a tail so that we can sew and cinch this together. So pull that through, and we're going to place our stitch marker at the last stitch where this tail's coming out of. Okay, so let's go ahead and stuff that a little more. This is where it gets a little tricky, so just use a little bit at a time. You can also use your hook if you want to, but I find it easier just to use my pinky because I can feel it on the inside of where I need to move it around. And you're going to kind of maneuver it, like I said, as you stuff it. Because if you stuffed it too tight, this would end up straight. So we want to make sure that there's a little less stuffing here and more pushed over on this side over here. And then we want to leave this a little bit looser and stuff a whole bunch over here in this area. So we're going to put just a little bit more in and kind of push it this way. Okay. So now what we're going to do is thread our yarn needle. And then in the front loop only, around to this last stitch, we are going to weave the yarn underneath each one of those in the front loop only. And then in this last one. Okay, go ahead and remove your stitch marker now, and then pull that closed. Cute. So now we're going to go ahead and insert our needle and kind of come out anywhere just to secure that end. And you don't want to pull it too tight because you still want that little bit of a point at the bottom right here. Okay. And then you're going to come out the back side. I don't want to pull it too tight. Okay, and then we're going to snip that yarn. All right. Now we are going to go ahead and we are going to make the little mouth and put some little, like an eyeliner, if you will, around the top of the eyes. And I didn't grab the black worsted yarn, so that is something that you are going to need. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab that real quick. And we are going to thread our yarn needle. And then we are going to come in from the side and kind of come up just below the eye, not total center, kind of at an angle just a little bit. And we're going to leave a little bit at this end so that we can tie a knot afterwards. Okay, so then we're going to find that same spot on the other side. This one's going to end up being more center because we don't want this too close here. So I'm going to come in there and then we're going to come out kind of a little bit in the middle. See? Okay. Okay. Now we are going to come in right about here and come out at the bottom where we just went in. And we're going to give it a little bit of a pull down. So now we are going to come back in here and come up on the side of the eye, as close to the eye as we can get. And then we're going to insert at the top of the eye and come out at the top of the other eye. Gonna have to maneuver it a little bit to get as close to that eye as you can. And then come down to the center as close as we can. And out where we initially came in on the side of the head with the yarn. And you're going to pull that through. Gonna pull this one a little tighter to make that one tighter over there. There we go. That's pretty good. So now we are going to make a little slip knot just to secure the ends. Then we are going to cut these two ends even. And because these ends are short, we are going to insert our needle first where that knot is and come out the back side of the head. And then now we are going to thread that needle. And then pull that through. And then snip those ends. And then you can just kind of poke that back in. Okay, so there's that. Now we are going to go ahead and make the top hat. Okay, so this tutorial ended up taking a lot longer than what I thought it was. So for the top hat that goes with this Amigurumi Ghost is going to be posted in a couple of days. So make sure you watch out. Okay, so I'm posting this one on a Tuesday, and then 2 days later on that following Thursday is going to be the tutorial for the top hat. If you aren't watching this exactly when it's posted, then all you need to do is, as soon as you're done with the ghost tutorial, just click on to the next video for the top hat tutorial and you will be all set. It would have been way too long if I would have put them all in one video, so I split them up into 2. So thank you for watching this tutorial on the little ghost, and I will see you in the next video. Until next time, bye!